Listen closely to the quiet changes that do not announce themselves with birthday candles or gray hair. Somewhere after 60, something subtle and astonishing happens in the chambers where feelings are weighed. A sudden news headline seems less catastrophic. A sunset feels more like a confession. A small kindness floods the chest with warmth that lingers until morning. The world insists that aging is only subtraction, cells, speed, cartilage, but inside the mind there is addition. More meaning, more calm, more selective light. How does it happen? Why do storms that once rattled you now seem like rain on a roof you know by heart? In the hush between heartbeat and breath, the system that shapes our emotions rewrites its priorities. Older adults smile where younger bodies brace. They choose presence over potential, harmony over haste, gratitude over gravity. This is not sentimentality. It is a silent, measurable pivot, a biological poem. And it is one of the most beautiful puzzles of the human lifespan, the mystery of why, after 60, emotion takes a different path through the brain's forests and comes out softer, clearer, more useful to the soul. Tonight we walk into that mystery. We'll step into laboratories where faces flicker on screens and scanners listen to neurons hum, and into kitchens where someone in their 70s stirs tea and forgives more quickly than they ever did before. We'll see a clock you cannot hold, time horizon, pulling the mind toward what matters. We'll watch the amygdala's alarms grow more discerning, while the prefrontal cortex takes the baton with a steadier hand. We'll wade through the chemistry of stress and the wintering of dopamine, and find how a quieter storm can mean a clearer sky. We'll follow memory's evolution from sharp edges to meaningful contours. We'll feel the body's signals sink a little deeper, the breath moving emotion from the chest to the whole self. And at the end, a golden insight, that aging doesn't blunt feeling, it refines it, teaching the nervous system to choose what feeds life in the time that remains. Begin with the clock we never see but always feel. Imagine climbing a mountain and realizing near the summit that the landscape is different not because the world changed, but because your vantage did. Socioemotional selectivity theory gives that mountain a name. When time feels expansive, as it often does in youth, we chase novelty, gather information, collect futures like seashells. But when the horizon comes closer, the mind performs an exquisite triage. It favors relationships that feel nourishing over those that merely distract. It seeks moments that are emotionally rich rather than data that is simply new. In experiment after experiment, older adults attend more to smiling faces, recall warm scenes better than grim ones, and patiently step around needless conflict. This is called the positivity effect, and it is not denial. It is selection, a wise economy of attention. Think of a traveler with only a few pages left in a notebook, choosing carefully what poems to write. The science says, when the perceived future shortens, goals shift from expanding knowledge to deepening meaning, and emotion follows the new compass. Yet there is something even more mysterious hiding inside this shift. It suggests that feelings are not just automatic reactions, but tools recruited by the mind's goals. As purpose slants toward connection, the emotional machinery recalibrates to amplify warmth and soften noise. Perhaps the deepest surprise is this: the clock of the mind tells the heart what to feel louder. Now step into the brain's theater, where circuits dim and brighten like stage lights between acts. Early in life, the amygdala is the vigilant guard at the gate, its alarms sharp, its wires quick to the body's engines. But scans whisper a new script in later decades. The amygdala's reactivity to negative images recedes, while its response to positive cues endures. Meanwhile, the prefrontal cortex, the conductor of thought, regulation, and interpretation, leads with more authority. Pathways between the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala strengthen like well-trodden footpaths, allowing appraisal and reappraisal to shape reaction before it spills into the bloodstream. Picture an orchestra retuned. The brass no longer blares at every shadow. The strings carry more of the melody. Pauses become part of the music. This is not numbing. It is precision. Executive networks negotiate with limbic signals, transforming raw alarm into a slower, wiser evaluation. Is this worth my heart's drums? Older brains also recruit bilateral regions, both hemispheres joining a dialogue, suggesting compensatory design, a chorus rather than a solo. Some call this scaffolding, the brain's way of building bridges where roads wear thin. And in those bridges flows a kind of emotional stability that looks like grace under pressure. We might ask, is wisdom the handshake between a calmer amygdala and a more seasoned prefrontal cortex? The scans do not show wisdom as a light. They show patterns that look like patience. Storms have chemistry. Emotion is weather threaded through the body by molecules and electricity, and aging shifts the climate. Dopamine, the messenger of pursuit and novelty, slides down its arc with the years, making the chase quieter but the savor longer. Noradrenaline, the accelerant of startled energy, calms in its timing, softening the reflex to spiral. Cortisol, the signature of stress, finds a new balance, its peaks dull, sometimes its rhythm flattens, and so the once sudden wave of panic becomes a ripple, noticeable but not swallowing. Serotonin and oxytocin, the whispers of contentment and connection, hold their own, sometimes strengthened by a life that has practiced gratitude and touch. Think of the endocrine system as a sky where lightning still strikes but prefers to travel farther apart. The weather still matters. Aging does not exempt anyone from storms. Yet the forecast shifts from dramatic squalls to measured rains, and that changes what you plant. Scientists call this allostasis, stability through change, the body's retuning to meet long-term demands. When the baseline changes, the threshold for alarm does too. The body learns to spend less on panic and more on repair. And in that economy, emotion becomes less like a siren and more like a lighthouse beam, not loud but clear. If a younger brain is a sprinting messenger, an older one is a seasoned cartographer, tracing what matters with fewer, truer lines. Memory is the loom where feeling and story are woven, and the loom itself evolves. In youth, we collect details. Who said what time it was, the exact shade of the room. Later, the mind leans toward gist, toward the meaning of what happened rather than the inventory of its pieces. This is not loss alone, it is architecture. Meaning binds experience into narratives that can be carried without breaking us. Research shows that older adults often reappraise, a cognitive art, more than they suppress. They tell the same event to themselves in a frame that reduces harm and increases learning. With practice, reappraisal becomes a reflex. A thought reaches for a kinder verb before the feeling hardens. Memory itself favors the positive. When asked to recall, older adults more readily retrieve kindness than cruelty. The brain rehearses gratitude and the performance improves. This shift influences tomorrow's emotions because the stories we keep tell the body what to expect. If your archive is rich with resilience, the next setback looks like a chapter instead of an ending. But the mystery gleams here too. Is the brain choosing positivity because time is short? Or because the nervous system has finally learned what keeps us alive in the richest sense? Perhaps both are true, co-authoring a memoir where the protagonist becomes their own counselor, and where emotion is less a verdict and more a guide. Then there is the body's quiet classroom, the cadence of breath, the pulse under the fingertips, the art of feeling the inside. With age, attention to internal signals deepens. Heart rate variability, the small dance between beats, speaks of flexibility. Many older adults cultivate it through slower breathing, unintentional or learned. The vagus nerve, that long river of calm running from brainstem to belly, becomes a friend rather than a rumor. Interoception, the sense of internal state, gains vocabulary for some, making it easier to say, "This is sadness, not danger," or "This anxiety is a messenger, not a master." Even posture becomes a quiet therapy. Standing with a gentler spine signals safety to the brain and softens emotional spikes. Around all this, social life condenses like a drop from a wide cloud into a clear bead. Circles narrow by design. Time is spent with those who matter. Small talk loosens its grip. Shared silence grows power. Science notices older adults might avoid conflict not from fear, but from an accurate cost-benefit analysis. Emotionally expensive tasks are paid for only if they purchase meaning. Oxytocin, the hormone of bonding, shows its subtle hand. A hug lingers longer, a goodbye is said more completely. And there's an evolutionary whisper here. Tending and befriending have always been survival skills. In later years, they become the primary language of safety, allowing emotion to be processed through connection rather than battle. Tie these strands together and watch the tapestry change. A shortened horizon draws goals toward meaning. A brain with strengthened regulatory bridges tempers alarm with appraisal. A chemistry of calmer storms gives more air to deliberate feeling. A memory that prioritizes gist tells stories that heal. A body more listened to and a circle more chosen turn emotion into signal rather than noise. If you were to climb above this landscape and look down, you might see not a decline, but a system electing to live, closer to the heart of life. The golden insight emerges not as a shout, but as a dawning. Emotion in later life is not less, it is curated. The nervous system, apprenticed to time, refines feeling for the work that remains, to connect, to forgive, to savor, to leave something gentle behind. Older adults process emotions differently because the entire organism, goals, circuits, hormones, memories, relationships, has learned the weight of moments and chooses to invest feeling where returns are richest. The mystery resolves into a kind of artistry, the late style of a life symphony, where pauses hold as much power as crescendos, and where the listener knows which motifs matter most. If this journey stirred something in you, a memory, a question, a tender recognition, let it ripple outward. Share your own golden insight in the comments. Tell us how your emotions have changed and what they have taught you about time. If you found value here, tap like so this conversation finds others arriving at the same summit. Subscribe to walk with us through more mysteries of the mind and heart each week, slowly, warmly, together. Your voice is part of this circle. And carry this with you. Wisdom is not the absence of storms, but the knowing of which rain to stand in. May every feeling you keep be one that makes your time feel larger, not smaller.